Yo, with the BDZ, man, it's your boy more broadcasting live, man. I'm gonna try my little microphone out. My last video was a little low. You couldn't hardly hear me, but I figured out how to get my microphone to work that I got off the TikTok shop. Yo, but it's green. And I tried it out on a regular phone setting, but this DJ6 got his own app, and I'm gonna see how it sound on here. But the thing about it is, let me show y'all. I had to go through a whole process, bro. I had to take my case off because the little input, well, I guess it wasn't going all the way in there good. That's why I wasn't registering the first time. But I don't know about this every time. But if it sounds decent, we might make the sacrifice. But anyway, it's your boy more broadcast live, man. Listen, I here getting unloaded. I had a little time, so I decided I'd come back in here because I was talking to somebody this morning. They saw my video I had posted this morning, and they said, "Mar, the reason you don't never get no views on your videos, bro, because you don't post enough." I said, "Well, that could be the truth." And they just told me to come in here to start having random conversations with y'all. Like I told you last video that I won't go too much talk about Prime that much right now, but we can have some random conversations. The topic that they told me I should talk about today was why did I get into trucking? And I know what you're asking. They done. You went in there and them receivers with that bonnet on and checked in. Indeed, went in there and checked in. Now, don't forget about the and checked in part, okay? I went in there and checked in with the bonnet on. So, yeah, that's the conversation. What the topic was? Why did I get in the truck? What all this stuff on my clothes? Let me see. Ooh, it's bright. I can't see it so bright. Sun and stuff going on this daytime in where I'm at in Ohio. But anyway, why did I get into trucking? So this is gonna be a pretty long story. So just stay around, stick to it. I'm gonna try to put y'all in on the details and fill y'all in as briefly as possible. Make it not too long, but it'll probably be a little long. So let's start from the beginning. When I graduated school many years ago, high school, many moons ago, 2001 actually, I left the city. I'm from Meridian, Mississippi. I left the city, ended up going to college in Tallahassee, Florida. FAMU University. Went there to be an architect major. Studied architecture. After school, after graduating, came back. I decided, man, I don't want to do this shit, bro. Because listen, the school, like when I was in high school doing the shit, bro, it was like more drafting. We had like drafting classes. We was building houses and designing stuff and doing more architecture stuff. But in college, when I was doing it, it was more so they had me doing some random stupid stuff, bro, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I guess they started my truck. So so I ended up coming back to the city or whatever. Now before that, I had a lot of options to go to school, bro. I had a lot of options, bro. I was real smart, still am real smart, and I just had a lot of options. But my uncle, he's an engineer in Atlanta, and I had narrowed it down between two schools. So he stayed in Atlanta, and at the time it was a college in Georgia, right outside Atlanta, in Kennesaw called Southern Polytechnic University. And they had a good architecture program. I had went down there for the summer and stayed down there during the summer, and I was thinking about fucking around and doing an architecture program there. And now it's called Kennesaw State. I think they changed the name to Kennesaw State. So Southern Polytechnic, now known as Kennesaw State. So once you come down with that 75, you look over there at Kennesaw, you'll see your sign say Kennesaw State. But they used to be Southern Polytechnic back in the day. And I went down there for the summer. Now it was pretty cool. So it was between Florida A&M and Southern Polytechnic. Those are two I had narrowed it down for. Mississippi State got an architecture program too, but I didn't want to go up there. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to do that. So I ended up going. So uh, what had happened was, because I don't know if I registered late or whatever, but basically it came down to I didn't have any housing at Southern Polytechnic. Now I could have stayed with my uncle, but he stayed way out the way, and it would have been a hassle for him. So I just decided to go ahead and go to Florida. I had a little car and shit. You know what I mean? And I was just ready. I was trying to get away, and it was, family, you a black college anyway, so I wanted to get that little experience. And you know what I'm saying? That little HBCU experience. But when I got down there and started doing the architecture stuff, I really didn't like it that much. Like, it was more so design and stuff, and not opposed to like the architecture. So I kind of had got played out with the architecture stuff. So when I got back to the crib, my cousin, she was a supervisor at this company called Avery Dennison, and she was like, "Well, Mark, I can get you a little spot here. It's a little warehouse. They make notebooks, and they make back in the day when CDs used to be popular. They make the little printable covers for these CDs, and the little stickers and all kind of stuff. They used to do. We used to make all kind of stuff, and yeah, and I ended up working there. She got me on through like this temp service or whatever, and then I ended up getting hired on full time. About a year later, I became like a supervisor, team leader. They call them team leaders, and then the guy that I worked under, uh, well, I was a team leader. Then they had created a weekend shift, 12 to 12, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then they gave me that shift, and then some years down the line, they dissolved that shift, and they put me on third shift. And just so happened that the guy that was the manager over third shift, he was going to first shift, so they ended up giving me that warehouse manager position. And yeah, and I did that for a while, bro. It was cool. You know what I'm saying? At that point, I was making more money than I ever made. Small town, you feel me? So I was starting to venture out and do all kind of stuff, bro. I was buying all kind of shit, doing all kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Because cost of living at that time in that little town was so small that you making 80, 90, $100,000. You know what I'm saying? And all you need was like 30. You know what I'm saying? You got an extra 70 to play with. So I ended up doing that. Long story short, um, and we'll talk about this later some more. We just get into the trucking stuff. But anyway, long story short, I ended up leaving there, taking a regional supervisor job at a company called MS Companies. Basically, we just did in the automotive. We did like the quality control, like the parts. We inspected the parts before they put them on your cars and make sure they had no defects. So, in Mississippi, we got a plant in Canton, right outside of Jackson, the Nissan plant, and I was the regional supervisor for all those suppliers. So Unipress. I don't know if you ever been to Forest, Mississippi. There's a Tyson right there, right before you turn into that road to go to that Tyson's right there in Forest. It's a big warehouse right there. It's called Unipress. So I was over that one, over the towers in Meridian. For Sia, they made the seats for the Nissans and shit. And I did that. Ooh, I was just killing them, bro. I had all kind of shit, bro. I had went and bought me a boathouse, and I had all kind of shit, bro. I was just doing all kind of shit, bro. Then, long story short, the opportunity had presented itself for me to get into the nightclub business. So I had partnered with one of my homeboys, and we had opened up this nightclub called the Elixir. I might put some clips in here so y'all see some of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So y'all don't think I'm capping. I might throw it on my Facebook or my Instagram because all that stuff on my Instagram. But yeah, Had this little nightclub. We had a liquor license. You know what I'm saying? It was cool. You feel me? It was real nice. And then the guy that like my partner that I was in the club business with, he did real estate, right? So I'm talking about Rod probably had about 50, 60 houses. So them late nights in the office, you know what I'm saying, turned into, bro, you should get you some real estate. You should get you some real estate. You should buy these houses. Let me show you how to get some houses. So I ended up getting into the real estate shit. You know what I'm saying? So I ended up buying about 7 units in 1 year's time. 7 units, not seven houses, but 7 units. I bought a duplex, a triplex, and two single family houses. And I was like, all right, well, shit, I'm straight. I'm straight. I'm straight. So we ended up taking, we ended up adding like food to like weekend food. We was gonna sell food to the club. So we got the lounge. Normally the lounge was just open Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but we ended up, okay, let's capitalize on it and let's start selling food. So we did that during the week. But see, because the lounge had liquor, like I had to be there all the time, but I couldn't be there because I had to be going back and forth to Jackson to these plants and stuff. So I made a terrible decision, horrible decision, and that decision was to quit my good paying job to be a full time entrepreneur in the club, restaurant, and real estate business. That's what we did. So it was pretty cool starting out, you know what I'm saying? But one thing they don't tell you about real estate is you really on a fixed income when you just rent out houses. You know what I'm saying? So I had 6 doors or 7 doors at the time. So even if I was to make $300 per door, you know what I'm saying? That's only $2,100 a month. And I had all kind of boat house shit. I had all kind of shit, bro. That boat house was in Brandon. Is at a marina. Speaking of boat house, I do need to find me another one because I sold my boat house. But at the time I had bought this nice ass house, and I was looking at some things that I could cut out. Although I owned the boat, I still had to pay like the slip fee every month, and that was like $375, bro. I'm like, damn, I'm sick of paying the slip fee. I don't get a chance to go out there that often. You know what I'm saying? When I was working out there, then I stopped by there all the time, go fishing. I had my little co-workers out there. We'll be fishing, drinking, and stuff like that. It's a good time, you know what I'm saying? And actually, I want to get me a new boathouse because I was looking at the one that I had then was at the Sunset Marina in Brandon on Lake Ross Barnett, and I was looking at some that was on the Tennessee River out there in Jackson, Tennessee, and but I was a little concerned about it being on the river because although Lake Ross Barnett, the weather might get bad and they throw them boats around and stuff like that, but it's still in the lake. But that river, eventually that river gonna crest and overflow, and I didn't want any problems. I don't think right now. Plus, Jackson, Tennessee is probably about what 5 or 6 hours away from me, so that is on my to-do list is to get me a new boathouse. But anyway, yeah, we started the restaurant shit during the daytime. This was before DoorDash and Uber and shit. So I was trying to get I had my drivers, I had employees that would deliver your food to you and shit. And basically, I was just spinning my wheels. Wasn't making like everything we was making just going out. It's just not a lot of money in the food service business. And like I said, we had a liquor license, so I had to be there every time it opened. And it just drained the fuck out of me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I like it to this day. You couldn't get me to go out, even if you paid me, bro. I'm done with that late night stuff. And I've been doing that since college. Cause even in college, like I say, going to a black school in Tallahassee, what we had back there, we had like the late night library, we had the Moon. It was another little club. I can't think of the name of it. And people throwing little house parties, and you know what I'm saying. It just party, 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 party. So now it's just like, nah, I'm done with that shit. So when it was time to renew the lease, I didn't I was like, bro, I'm tired of this shit, bro. I can't. I'm done. And I didn't. But mind you, I had quit my good job. All I had now at this point was real estate. Like I say, real estate, you really just on a fixed income. So I was trying to come up with ways. My bad, somebody called me, bro. But anyway, I was just trying to come up with ways to buy more real estate and grow my portfolio. That was the goal. And then I was talking to some of my homeboys, and they was in the trucking thing. They was like, "Well, we making a killing. We doing it in. We hand over fist. We making money hand over fist. Boy, ooh, we making $1 million out here on the road. But you should go get your CDL." I was like, ugh. I really don't like to drive like that, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to drive. Uh, Now, like, yeah, and I never thought about trucking a day in my life before that. And I'm like, nah. I mean, I see trucks on the road. I try to get away from them, you know what I'm saying? But for me driving one, I was like, no, 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 no. But then, conversations kept going, multiple conversations. And then I started researching it. And I looked at a company out of Mississippi, KLLM. And they was, like I said, I used to be the regional supervisor for MS Company. So I was, it was not too far from little areas that I had to go to anyway. So I was used to driving to Jackson. It's actually in Ridgeland, but that's on the other side of Jackson. So Canton is on this side of Jackson. Ridgeland is on the front side, the top side. But and I was like, all right, well, cool. Let me try it out. And then, once you start planting them seeds, there, I was like, okay, cool. Let me try it out and see. And then, I ended up going there. I went there because KLLM at the time, they was training you on manuals, right? Because that was another thing. Like when you have people around you that, they know what they're doing and they can kind of pour into you. Because at the time, you didn't have a lot of YouTubers on YouTube talking about trucking and shit. You know what I'm saying? You had a few, but not that much. That was really just like you do now. Now you just got all kind of trucking YouTube channels. But back then, you really didn't have that information. So that was one thing that they said make sure you go to these companies that don't put a restriction. I think that's what they call it, restriction on your license. So I was like, all right, cool. I went there, took my little test. At KLLM, their training is only 5 weeks. So you go and you stay there, you know what I'm saying? And what you do is stay there and they put you in a little hotel and they take you to get you take your test, and they got the little pad where you practice the back and maneuvers, and then boom, they schedule you a date to go and take your test at the highway patrol. If you pass, then you take your little driving test, and then boom, you're an employee of KLLM. So I did that, and took care of that little business. Went out with a trainer for 5 weeks. Uh, Came back, got my own little truck. Now at KLLM, they don't let you lease right away. I think you got to wait for like 6 months, I believe it was. They put you on the list. Are you interested in leasing? But I got on the list, but I wasn't really interested in leasing because I don't like the color of their trucks. At the time, I only had them little brown champagne trucks. I ain't like that shit, bro. I don't want no fucking champagne brown truck. And they had the Volvos and they had Freightliners too, but Volvos and Freightliners. But now I see they got the white trucks. They got the white Freightliners. So I started shopping around. That's when I found Prime. And long story short, this is when the bullshit at Prime started in the very beginning. Because I had worked for KLLM for 6 months. And then I went to Prime. I called a recruiter, said, yeah, you come on, we can put you on, we can get you on right into your own truck. So I quit KLLM in February. It took me about a week or two off. And I went to Prime in March. These bastards, when I got there, they gonna tell me that, oh wait, you only did 5 months on your own, so now we gotta put you out there with a fucking trainer. So I had to leave my truck. Now if they would have told me this before I left, I would have stayed with KLM for another month or however else long it took to complete that little 6 months, whatever they said, and then boom, I would have switched over then. But no, they lied to me from the jump. And I had to go out with a trainer for fucking 20,000 miles. And let me tell you, that's right before COVID. So that was a whole mess. That fat bastard they had me. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna say this to the next fucking video, because this needs a video by itself. I know we're not talking about Prime or whatever until later on, but this needs a video by itself. And stay tuned for the rest of this video, because I'm gonna tell you about my experience training them little. Running my blood pressure up, man. Just put more on broadcast. Stay tuned, because I'm gonna tell you about this little experience. Peace.